Now, you probably didn't expect to see me so soon, but how could I not when Brianna Whitney and Crime Junkies decided to release a more complete first ransom note for us to dwell on? And I want to make this pretty quick, okay? The thing that struck me again, just like before, is just how performative and dramatic these letters are, okay? So let's just go ahead and first read the more completed version. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. Now, Brianna tells this part in a broken-up manner instead of a complete reading of the note, which I actually am not sure why. Maybe she doesn't have the complete ransom note in front of her. If anybody wants to shed light on why this possibly is, then please do so. I mean, this is not saying anything about her information. I believe that it's right. So she pauses at this point of the video to mention that $4 million and that this demand was due by Thursday, February 5th at 5 p.m., which will rise to $6 million by Monday the 9th if they don't comply. Then the letter continues. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. If payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you. Now, Brianna breaks away from the letter again, but this is when the abductor revealed clues that only the abductor would know, okay? That Nancy's white Apple Watch was found on the floor at the foot of her bed, and that the floodlights in her backyard were destroyed. And this is why the FBI is investigating this whole ransom letter situation on the premise that they are real. Why Savannah tends to believe they are real as well, which language like that from a media-trained lawyer, tends to make me believe that she knows they are real. Anyways, doesn't that first note feel worthy of being in a kidnapping movie? Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy, just on the off chance that she forgot her mom's name. Now, the letter is direct and to the point with no compromises. Not only is it implying that this was done by more than one person, but that Nancy is still alive at this point, that she is safe but scared. That bit I found very bizarre because of how it feels so well thought out, right? This whole scheme appears to, let's go back to the body of the letter where it says that it's in everyone's best interest that this whole thing be executed quickly and efficiently, which lends very well to being well thought out, right? So if they're wanting us to believe that there's more than one person in this caper, what's that old saying? 2 heads are better than one, okay? So I can't imagine the mastermind, if there is one, not at least going over the basics of this plan in its entirety with person number 2. So it makes me wonder, how do 2 minds, no matter what kind of doofuses we're dealing with here, both forget one of the most important aspects of such a scheme? If Nancy is still alive at the time they wrote this note, then proof of life would have been nice, huh? This whole well-thought-out ordeal with well-written ransom notes to match. Overlooked proof of life. Allow me to be a bit facetious. I'm probably getting eaten alive out here, but it doesn't matter, okay? Because there was a movie I remember watching way back in the day about a kidnap and ransom, where an engineer is kidnapped for ransom. And interestingly, the ransom was for $6 million. Imagine if the culprits were watching this movie and got the idea for this caper here, and that movie was called Proof of Life. I'm just standing here thinking about how well everything seemed to have been executed because we don't know who they are. They've technically gotten away with it for the past 6 months, right? And because we live in the future, we also know, after scrutinizing this case to every degree, that it actually seems like a well-thought-out plan. But then the culprits allowed everything to crumble just before they struck gold. Okay? Hear me out. Cutting off communications, well, if money was the goal, that's not a really good idea. If Nancy was alive at the time, it could have easily been an attachment I'm talking proof of life right now, okay? Maybe a photo of Nancy, a short video. Hell, it could even just be an audio recording of her voice. And I know, okay, it could be tricky considering we're living in a world full of imposters like AI, but there are ways. If Nancy is alive when they're writing this, prove it. How about relaying a question from the Guthrie children that only Nancy should know, but nothing of the sort with this particular kidnapper, okay? Quick to cut off all communications, securing the ball firmly in their court. No compromises. If the sentiment of this letter is real, written by a money-hungry kidnapper who wants $4 million for their efforts, then why shut off the spigot before you can even be paid? Since we live in the future now, we know how it turned out. The family did not pay 1 cent in ransom or even reward money as of yet, okay? And all of that hinged on proof of life. So this begs the question, why was this letter writer so quick to cut off all communications when they should clearly know that a family is more likely to pay if they have it? Most likely, a family is not going to pay that amount of money for a dead body. Which brings us back to ransom note number 2, okay? Once Savannah reminds her mother's kidnappers of the obvious, that they need proof of life, was this the "oh yeah, huh" moment for the kidnappers? After all that, the family came out with their second plea video saying they were willing to pay. Imagine that. Willing to pay even for just a body. It appeared, by their body language and the morose atmosphere, that's when the culprit or culprits decided to just cut their losses, again just inches from the grand prize, which leads me to believe even more so than before that money was never the grand prize here. Nancy being taken out of the equation, whatever equation that may be, was the actual end game. Also, never forget that the letter writer took the time and care to absolve the family of all guilt and ended with a heartfelt apology. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We are truly sorry. Every time you hear that, how does it hit you when you know the source of where this letter is coming from? These letters were addressed to Savannah from the very beginning. Ransom note 1 and 2, the FBI believes they're coming from the same person. So nothing leads us to believe this apology isn't also for Savannah, as if whoever is writing this letter has some sort of connection to her, some sort of tenderness toward a heartbroken Savannah. Now, I understand maybe she was the target because she has all the money, but then that just goes back to, why does ransom note number 2 even exist? The family's plea video number 2, they clearly read ransom note number 2 and came to the conclusion their mother was gone and they were still willing to pay. If you were looking for a way out as a bad guy, there you go, vanish from that point on. Ransom note number 2 never needed to exist. If this case has your head spinning like it has mine, drop your theory in the comments. I want to hear it. And if you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss where this one goes next.